Hi, it's Richard. This is the second video of the 4 videos I'm going to be doing, which take you through the handout, the chair yoga handout. So the chair yoga handout is essentially a whole load of chair yoga postures that I'm teaching in my regular chair yoga classes. And the reason of these videos is because I've been asked on a number of occasions for a handout that people can take away and do chair for themselves, which is great. I really encourage that. But the difficulty with that, as with any form of yoga practice, when you go to a class, you come away and you're still maybe not quite sure about the method, the means, the techniques, and all those types of things. So the video is a means by where you can look at the video, find out, practice the postures yourselves, and get the best out of it with the body you've got, because everybody has got their own interpretation of these postures, as in any form of yoga. Everybody's got different movement constraints, etc. So once you've done that, then you can have a look at all of the postures on the handout and decide which ones work for you, which ones don't work for you, and maybe put your own home practice together of varying length and duration. And that's really the point of the video and the handout. So if you're interested in the handout, there'll be a link at the end of the video, or an address where you can get in touch with me. So this is page 2. This starts with hand to toe. I'm going to go straight into it. I'm assuming you probably read this in the first video, but if not, comfortable chair, ideally without arms, on a sticky surface where it's not likely to slide around. And in this one, you're probably going to need a belt. A belt, any form of belt will do. This is a yoga belt. You can use a dressing gown belt. You can use a trouser belt, or you can use any form of sort of long material, a tea towel or something. It doesn't have to be super long. So we're going to start with hand to toe. So hand to toe is this a regular yoga posture. So, but in chair yoga, hand to toe is essentially lifting one leg up and taking. I'll come side on so you can see this. And I'm blessed with long arms and short legs, so hand to toe is okay for me. But I know that from teaching yoga that isn't a great shape, body shape. I'm blessed though, and that's why you might want to practice with a belt on this one. So it's essentially a hamstring stretch, and we build a bit of strength up in the forearms and in the wrists. So as you can see, I'm going to stand on the belt. These yoga belts have got a little hoop or loop in them where you can put a hoop in if you want. But I find it's just as easy to stand on the belt, walk your hands up, keep that leg nice and straight, upright to the body. And this is one where you can use the back of the chair to lean against to give you that counterweight, counterbalance, and draw the hand up. Okay, so what we try to do in this posture, so assume you've got an upright body, or you're not rounded through your back, upright through the body, walk the hands up the belt, draw up. Now, I generally go for these gliding stretches, these dynamic movements to gently ease off the stickiness in the tissues and just explore the way the entry into the posture. Because you don't want to go hard at it straight in and pull cold muscles. You want to get a little bit of movement going, and then pull that point of tension and hold here. Now, the hold is probably 3 or 4 breaths. If you're very new to this, you're quite tight. And if you're bent in the knee because your hamstrings are so tight, that's okay. Okay, it doesn't have to look a particular way. So bring the leg up to tension and then stay there. I say those gliding movements up to tension and stay there. And gently use the strength in your forearms to pull on the leg. Now, if you don't have a belt, you can essentially bring the knee off of the floor, wrap your hands under the knee, under the leg, and draw the leg up. A couple of gliding movements here. And draw it on, pull the toes into the shin. This will lengthen through the muscles in the calf. You get that tension through the back of the knee, and hold it there 3 or 4 breaths. You'll feel the tension initially. If you breathe nice and softly, slowly into that tension, over about 15 seconds, that tension will alleviate a little bit. Maybe you come up a little bit more. Try to keep that nice upright back. Will keep your pelvis in a good orientation, and you feel that stretch. So that's essentially hand to toe. Things you can do in hand to toe, which I sometimes, I'll encourage, particularly if we've got belts on, is maybe taking some circles with your leg, which rotates through the hip joint. Okay, hand to toe. The next one is leg lift, which essentially we've just covered in hand to toe, but this is a little bit more different in the sense that hands clasp under the thigh in this case, and then straighten the leg, and leg lift is pulling up the leg. You find same sort of tension, same sort of muscles going into extension, a little bit more control maybe because the hands are further towards the body, but lifting up, pulling the toes in. And obviously one on both sides. And you can do some dynamic movements into this just to loosen off again, not forgetting those dynamic movements. And you don't necessarily have to do one and then the other. You can do 2 or 3 each side as you gently warm into it. Okay, side triangle. Side triangle is come to the edge of your chair, take your legs out wide. Now you can extend your legs out so you've got less of a flexion in your knees, or you can bend your knees for stability. Reach down with a hand on one leg and bring the other arm over and stretch over. So it's a modification on the theme here, triangle posture. Okay, so that's the movement here. It's quite nice. You feel that nice stretch through the side of the body where you can target your breath into that space you create. And if you move your feet backwards, really go into external rotation with your hips, you'll feel that tension and use your glutes to do this. It's not so much rotation, so much internal rotation as we would do in a normal triangle pose, but nonetheless, it's a really nice posture. When we move in and move out of these big sweeping movements, pull your tummy button in. So gently come to the other side, for example, upright position, take the hand on the inside of the thigh, palm faces away. This will rotate the shoulder. Take the other arm out and then draw the arm over as you reach down to the floor and reach up with the ceiling. So maybe try to keep the arms in alignment if that works for you. Pull the knees backwards. Lots of things going on in the body. Remember not to hold your breath. Remember to breathe nice and gently, nice and softly. Okay, come all the way back, put your tummy button in. Triangle, eagle. Okay, eagle is a shoulder, internal rotation of the shoulders, and this can be quite challenging for people that have got impingements, rotator cuff issues, so just go carefully with this. 2 versions of eagle. The first is bring the palms together and then bring the forearms towards each other. Try to get the elbows together, so you see 90 degrees in the elbows, feet, knees, hip width apart for stability. With the elbows together, draw the arms up, you get that nice stretch through the shoulders. So that's one version. And maybe that your arms are out here, that's okay. The effect of coming into this posture, attempting this posture is good. Okay, another version is take the arms out nice and wide. I'm going to draw my left arm under my right arm. The elbows are going to cross. I'm going to bend the elbows, bring the backs of the hands towards each other, bring the elbows up. Another version of eagle. Or if you're quite mobile in your shoulders, you can let the arms pass each other, maybe a finger on a thumb, and then draw the arms up. So that's a proper eagle bind. Another way of getting an eagle bind is to bring your arms into a cactus position, palms face in, and then one elbow will cross the other elbow, and then get the hands to cross again as you draw the elbows up. So you're looking for tension around the back of your teres minor, around the back of your rotator cuff muscles, your shoulder blades, drawing it up, really feeling that stretch. Good. Eagle arms. And the thing I like about eagle arms is you can actually then do something with the legs. If you want to build up that posture, you can maybe slide one leg out to the side, do a twist, an eagle twist, but you can play around with those postures. Okay, cow arms. So cow arms in yoga is this type of movement here. Okay, which is probably really, from my experience, is really difficult for a lot of people. So again, you can use a belt on this. So you take your belt, take it over the shoulder. I'm going to come with my back to you. I'm going to take my one hand behind my back and grab hold of the belt here. My other hand's going to go over the top, grab hold of the belt. I'm going to use the belt to walk my hands towards each other. And then maybe a little bit of flossing here if you want. You don't have to get the hands touching. A little bit of flossing is good. That'll get your shoulders moving. Or again, if you've got that range of movement and the fingertips come towards each other, you can draw the arms up, bring that elbow up around the back of the head, up right through the body, feel that stretch through the shoulders. Again, quite a difficult posture that, probably best used with a belt. And to start off with, we'd take it on the other shoulder now, take this hand behind, because I'm quite tight on this side. Got a little bit of flossing maybe, just to get that dynamic movement going. And if you then want to go a bit deeper, walk your hands towards each other on the belt, drawing that arm up, bringing that hand down. Maybe the fingers come to touch, interlink the fingers and find that stretch. Okay. Knee hugs and circles. Okay, knee hugs and circles is upright position, feet are grounded, away from the back of the chair, pull your tummy button in, draw one foot off the floor, bring the knee up into the chair, strap your hands, clasp your hands around that knee, squeeze in and back off. Do this a couple of times just to compress into that hip socket, squeeze in, and just mindful of your hip socket when you do this. Of course, any of these postures, you'll see on the first video, there's a disclaimer. Just take responsibility for yourself. Make sure you check with your GP that you can do any form of exercise. Okay, once you come into this, and then maybe some circles here. So draw some nice circular movements, just getting the hip rotating one direction and then go the other direction. And finish off with another squeeze. Maybe the head or the chest comes towards the knee, knee comes to the chest, hold it in and let go. And you go again on the other side. Always being mindful again that you might find that one side's a lot tighter than the other. You might find you haven't got as much range of movement in one side. Pretty much everybody's slightly asymmetrical around their hips. They might point in different directions and you might find some restrictions. So we never really push ourselves to the point where we want to get complete symmetry. This probably eludes most of us, evades most of us. And a big squeeze in here, squeeze into that joint capsule. All of the time breathing when you're doing these movements to get the movement of fluids and waste and toxins and acid out of the body, out through the breath, as you generate more stress and tension in the body. Okay, so rattling through these. Hip opener, crossed legs. Now, I'm not a big fan of crossed legs because most of the people that come to my chair yoga classes have got some sensitivity in their hips. So if crossing the legs is okay for you, then this is okay. So a hip opener with crossed legs is essentially that, is with the legs crossed, gentle little bit of pressure on the knee that's coming up. You feel that tension in your glutes and stay there. Okay, and the same on the other one. Obviously, if you've had hip surgery, if your hips are really tight, if you're sensitive in your hips, if you've got some, real issues there, one option for a hip opener is to take your legs out nice and long. Let me step the chair back because I find this is something that most people can actually achieve, and you can slide your heel up your shin and then rotate your knee out. So it's still a leg cross. The hip is being opened up quite nicely. You could do this on your shin, or you can put a block or a book down, rest one heel on the book and let the knee come out to the side. Again, it's a hip opener. It's not as intense as crossing the legs. We do need to try to get our hips open just to allow that range of movement. If we don't do it, we get really tight on our hips, especially if we walk and sit down a lot. And tightness in the hips isn't a great thing because you, over time, will lose that range of movement and you'll start to atrophy around that joint. Okay, so pigeon pose is a deeper cross leg position where you will bring the heel up onto the thigh maybe, and again apply a little bit of pressure here. Knee bent, knee straight. Again, I'm not a big fan of these in terms of chair yoga. I think it's one of those postures where we try and shoehorn a yoga posture into chair, whereas what we're trying to achieve here, we're trying to achieve some opening the hips. And there's other ways of doing that without risking the hips. You can do some wide leg clams. That's a hip opener as well. Nice dynamic movement. So depending on where you are with your body, if you're okay, if you're quite young, if this is an office chair yoga class, then you might find this is quite a nice posture. If you are okay in your hips and this is okay for you, then what you can do then is lean forwards into that tension there. So that's really a really nice stretch of your glutes. And if you wanted to take a full pigeon pose here, you could take, in this case, I've got my right knee bent. So you take your right arm under, find an eagle bind here, and you can do an eagle arms here, or you could maybe take your hands behind to go for a deeper stretch there. So that's pigeon. Lovely posture in yoga, and just go really carefully with it. Left leg lift and take head backwards. So this is when I do my warm-ups, and basically this is from a seated position upright through the body. I'm going to come side on so you can see this. So basically we start with a head lift and back, tuck the chin in, lift the head, squeeze through your glands, and then bring the head down, tuck the chin in. Once you've done that a few times, you've got that nice flexion extension movement of your neck. Next time you lift your head up, lift one leg up, point to the toes, taking the chin up, and then foot to the floor, tuck the chin in. Lift the leg up, Take the head back. So what this is actually doing is nerve flossing your sciatic nerve. Now, sciatic nerve is your 10th. It starts really at the base of the skull here, ends up round about the toes. So you can imagine with one leg lifted, toes pointed, head coming backwards, that's traveling the furthest direction through the spinal column, down through both legs, down to the toes. It's a great way of stretching your sciatic nerve. Call it nerve flossing. So you can do that in warm up. You can do that as a matter of an exercise. If you do struggle with sciatic nerve conditions, then maybe try some of that nerve flossing with some cat-cows as well, because they're always good to get the spine mobile. Okay, arm raises and circles. Touched on this a little bit on the other video. So circles, small circles, and get the circles going bigger, okay, and then backwards as well. Okay, but what you can do here is rotate the arms. So your palms face up, holding the arms in external rotation, and then some circles this way. So backward circles, forward circles, just a little bit of different dynamic of the posture, and then internally rotate. So turn the arms all the way around. So maybe the palms face backwards, and then some circles here. Again, different dynamic, but getting really full range of movement around that shoulder. Do a number of these, or breathe for 5 breaths while you continue with the movement. It's quite a dynamic movement, so it's quite nice. You might want to use that as an infill between some of the more static, harder postures. Take the arms out and start moving them around. You're still getting that nice movement through the body. You've got energy flowing around the body. You've got waste flowing around the body out through your breath, and keeping the body moving, keeping the tissues and connective tissues moving. It's really good. Chest opener, clasp the hands. Okay, so you'll probably have done this at some point in your lives, where you take your hands behind the back, clasp the hands, and then come forwards, drawing the arms up. Really is a good stretch of the front of the chest. Really strong in your shoulders here. Bringing the chest forwards, arching through the lower back, lifting the head up, and stay here 5 breaths. And you can do this dynamically as well. You can lean in, come back, lean in, come back, lean in, hold and breathe. Again, if you find that you're quite kyphotic, or you're rounded, or you're worried about your posture, then that's certainly a go-to one. That, as well as in the first video where we grabbed hold of the chair and we lifted the chest up and drew the shoulder blades towards each other. Super good for your posture. Guaranteed to take some of that tightness away. Forward bend here, forward bend. So we do this in sun salutations, taking the feet nice and long, plant the feet on the floor, upright through the body, and then slowly come forwards, bringing the hands down the legs, lowering the head down towards the thighs, reaching down to the floor. You get to the point where you try to find some length through your spine. I'll come side on. So on the edge of your chair, legs nice and straight. You can pop your feet on a book or a block if that's easier for you, and then nice and flat through the back as you come forwards, and then lengthening through the body, letting the head, the chest come down, reaching down, finding that nice length through the spine. And you can do a couple of dynamic, pull your tummy button in, come forwards, pull your tummy button in, supporting your lower back, come forwards and hold. And you can do a nice chest lift here. Keep your hands where you are, lift your chest up, lift your chin up, look forwards. A little bit of extension through the back, and then lower down into another forward fold here. Pull the tummy button in. It's an inversion. So when you come up really slowly. And when you come upright, just make sure you're okay. And again, if you suffer with high blood pressure, be very careful with any inversion because it can increase the blood pressure a little bit. Okay, so be very careful with forward bends, but nonetheless great to lengthen through the spine and get that nice stretch through the spine. Okay, forward twist. Again, we cover these off in sun salutations, so you can do this either with the knees bent and then draw one hand down onto the inside of that leg, turn in the opposite direction, take the other hand up, turn and look up as you twist through the body. Okay, and you can do that on the other side. Again, you can do these in isolation or in part of your sun salutation. Lift up, nice twist. You can do it with legs slightly extended here as you roll down into this forward bend, and then take a twist to one side. This is how I teach in my sun salutations. So I get a nice twist, both sides, just turning, looking. You'll feel the tensions in your body. You'll notice the asymmetries where you might be tight on one side compared to the other side. Really nice twists, forward twists. Wide leg forward bend, dangling, various names. So taking the legs out nice and wide, hips go into rotation. You get some movement in your hips, drop your hands down between the legs, tuck your chin in, round your shoulders, pull your belly button in and lean forwards. Again, another inversion. So go really carefully with this, using gravity to passively stretch your shoulders, your back. Let your neck be soft, let your head hang here. This for me is probably my favorite. I can feel the pressure into the floor with my feet. I can feel that nice release in my shoulders, my head, my neck. I'm breathing very slowly. It's an inversion. I'm breathing softly. It's quite restorative. And then to come up, pull your tummy button in, support your lumbar spine, press into the floor with your feet, keep your chin tucked in and slowly come up. And as you come up, roll your shoulders backwards. Take a moment to allow circulation to normalize itself. Allow your breath to soften a little bit. Okay, really nice forward bend. Okay, ribs to thighs is a bit like cobra pose, if you're familiar with yoga. So cobra pose is basically forearms on the thighs, and we bring the chest forwards, side on, the chest forwards and lower down, lift up through the head, draw the shoulders back. Ribs to thighs is taking your ribs further down to your thighs. It's what it says. You can rest your hands down and then draw back on your forearms as you pull forwards with your chest, your head, almost like traction through your spine. A little bit of lift through your upper back, through your thoracic spine, and breathe here. It's quite an intense posture, but it's quite a nice back bend. Okay, ribs to thighs. Okay, chair lift. Now, this is a really great thing to do for anybody that's got some issues with balance. They want to build some strength up, independence muscles. These fellas here, our quadriceps, these are the independence muscles. They keep us independent of getting help to get in and out of our chair. So it's essentially sitting in a chair, and we're going to hand on our knees, bring our feet backwards a little bit, lean into our feet. So we're going to try and stand up, but we're not going to stand up. We're going to drop down. Try to make your bottom quite light on the chair. Oops, dropping my sweet wrappers all over the place. But I do that belt up. Okay, so you lean at your feet, push in, lift your bum up and come back down. Okay, lean forward, push into your feet, strengthen the thighs, drive your bottom slightly off the chair and come back down. Do this nice and slowly. You know, lean forwards, really make the most of it. Push into the floor with your feet as you lift the bum slightly off the chair, baby, hold there for a breath and then come back down. You'll feel that in your quadriceps, in your thighs. This is building up strength nice and gradually in those independence muscles. And the great thing about this is it's perfectly safe. So the fear of falling, if balance is a real issue for you, then I would very much recommend you try this. Because if you do eventually, you know, think, oh, I can't do this, and then you drop back, you're behind your chair behind you. And all the time you do this. Now, if you're okay in terms of your leg strength and your balance, what you can do is fold your arms or plant your hands on top, your forearms on top of each other and come up. So squats, when you do this, pull your tummy button in as you come up. So you're engaging your core muscles now. And again, this could be your exercise regime to build up that strength quite safely because the chair's behind you. Do 5 or so of these, however many you're okay doing. Okay, and really, really good to build these fellas up, these quadriceps up. Couple more to go on this page. Stand up mountain, which is essentially what we've just done. Okay, from the chair lift, we stand up to mountain pose. Okay. Now we're getting to a couple of standing postures now. Now with the standing postures, the classes I teach, you know, some people are quite unsteady on the legs. So if you are going to do standing postures, just take your time in terms of getting up from a seated position to a standing position. And you can either place a chair in front of you, or you can walk around to the back of your chair. I'll come side on here. Make sure the chair's on a sticky surface. You've got some good grip. Chair's not going to wobble around. make sure you can grab hold of the chair. So the first one is one leg balance extension. Again, a really good one this is. So both hands on the chair, and then we're going to take one leg backwards onto the toes and feel that stability of the chair, and then slowly elevate that foot off. So it's a balance on one leg, but really active in our glutes and our hamstrings here. And you can maybe do a couple of dynamic movements here as you lift that leg up a few times. And then hold, pointing the toes, maybe to some ankle flexions, extensions. And you'll start to really feel that effort in your glutes and in the hamstrings. And then once you come back to the floor, when you come back to the floor, maybe bend the knees a couple of times here, maybe taking the knees out to the side, a little bit of side-to-side movement in your hips, just to get the tissue loosened off of some of those static postures. And you go again on the other leg. So both hands on the chair, reach forward, step the toes back. This will give you an idea of the stability, the balance in that standing leg. And then slowly lift that leg off the floor. And then maybe a few of these, maybe with your breath, as you breathe out, lift that leg up, pull your tummy button in, breathe in, come down. Almost blow as you go. And a hold, point the toes, maybe flex the ankle. Okay, you'll feel that. And this is a great one to build that strength up into your glutes, into your hamstrings, and come back. And wherever you are, a couple of little bends of the knees here. Just to loosen off. And finally, another standing one on this page, one leg hip extension. So this is a balance again, both hands on the chair. I'm going to come side on so you can see me, lean into one foot, bend through the other knee, toes on the floor, give you an idea of how stable you are on that leg. Sliding the sole of the foot up onto the calf and bring the leg out. So this is a version of tree pose, okay? So that's what it looks like side on. You can sidestep with your toe on the floor and the heel into the calf if the balance is a real challenge for you. That's absolutely fine because you're still getting the hip externally rotating. Now from here, what you can do if you're in a position, a standing position here, choice is maybe take one hand out to the side, away from the chair, and lift up and see how that changes the dynamic. Good grip of the holding hand. And you can change the hands over. I say I'm coming side on so you can see what's going on here. Or if you want, you can loosen your grip, but keep your hands covering the chair. Because as soon as you take your grip off, the balance brain kicks in and things happen in the ankle, in the standing leg. It feels like, it's almost like the body or the leg feels, oh my goodness, I'm on my own, so I need to work at this, okay? So when you take your hands off, just notice how that feels so you can quickly grab hold of the chair again. So they're really good. I really do encourage people to do these balances, supported balances. And obviously we go again on the other leg. And bearing in mind that we're quite asymmetric around our hips, around our whole body. So when you lift the other knee up, turn the foot out, keep it on the toes so you just feel that sensation of grounding through that stand leg, just to feel how that feels for you. And then lift it onto the calf, take the knee out. And again, just stay here for 5 breaths, if that's okay, if that's enough for you. Or if you feel fairly confident and balanced and grounded, maybe take one hand away, pull the tummy button in as you lift that heavy limb away from the body. Maybe change over, lift that hand away. Maybe look down at the floor, focus on something that's not moving, and loosen your grip on the chair and just see how that changes the dynamic of the balance. And then obviously, once you've done a couple of standing postures, make your way slowly back onto your chair. So that's page 2. Quite a mix there. I will wind this video up now, and I'll do another video shortly for page 3 and then another video for page 4. So there we go. I'll flash up on some information if you want to get hold of this this guide and details of how you get hold of that, and then give me a bell. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you on the next video.